Subitizing or subitizing? Your choice on how you'd like to say it. For me, it's subitizing. And in this video, I'm going to take you through all the different stages in the development of subitizing. You can find my blog post on tracyashbridge.com and other posts that may be of interest to you regarding teaching and learning, particularly of children with learning difficulties. So what is subitizing? Subitizing is the ability to look at a group of dots, squares, animals, things, and know how many there are. Now, even for an adult, being able to actually subitize anything more than 5 isn't really very possible. Now, we're pretty good up to 5. After that, we actually start to employ all sorts of different strategies, putting things into groups. We don't then count individual ones after that. So let's go through the stages. Now, the stages that I'm going to go through here are the stages that have been developed through Learning Trajectories by Saruman and Clements, who are researchers in the States, and they have a great website called Learning Trajectories, and that will give you more information if you want examples further than this. It's a really, really solid website supported by the Bill Gates Foundation. So very early, we start to develop the ability to subitize. So children from age just 1 to 2 years can actually subitize up to about 4 things. So they'd look at a picture like this and know that there were 4 balls. So that's quite early development. And the children who can't do this without counting, they're children we need to really worry about and think about how we can help them to develop this skill, to help them develop their knowledge of number. If we look at the conceptually guided instruction to maths approach, then we need to work children towards derived facts. We need to move them from counting in ones to looking at derived facts. So no, this is 4, and if I drew another dot up here somewhere, that would make 5. So by the time a child gets to 5 years old, they've just got to school, they should be able to roll a dice, get a number like 5 and say that's 5. They shouldn't need at that point to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and count the dots. They should recognize that pattern and know that it's 5. So for regular patterns by child is 5, that's something we'd expect that they can do. Now at the top it says we've got perceptual subitizer and conceptual subitizer. So for a perceptual subitizer, they see the pattern. They see this. However, conceptually, this is still 5. But this is a slightly more advanced stage, and we've got children being able to see that we've got 3 and 2 dots, and 3 and 2 dots are going to make 5 dots altogether. So that's conceptually a step forwards, that they're actually looking at all the bits and how they go together. So subitizing to 10, around again at later ages of 5, so still within the prep year. So for example, they may recognize this organization of a 10 frame. So I've organized this one what we call 5-wise. So there's 6 there, and they would see that there's 5 on the top and 1 more. So 5 and 1 more makes 6. So they're not counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're not necessarily subitizing and seeing that there's 6, but they're seeing 5 and 1. We could also organize exactly the same, what we call pairwise. So 2 and 2 and 2. So they could go 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom, or they could go the other way and count 2, 2 and 2 going across, and still there's 6. More complicated than that is when we put them in randomly, and that way they may need to initially count them. They may be able to see the 2 top and bottom, then the 2 on the diagonals, and still see them in groups of 2 and count 2, 4, 6. Or they may count 3, 6, but they can see that they can still see those patterns, they're just stretched out. So by the time a child is age 6, so they're moving into year 1, we expect them to do this with numbers age 6, up to 20. So conceptually, again, they're not counting them, they're not just perceiving them, they're actually now looking at strategies on how they can conceptualize these numbers. So for example, here I've got 10 and 2 more. So they'd recognize the 10, they wouldn't need to count 10, they recognize that's the group, a pattern of 10, and then they count on 2 more, or they know that 10 and 2 more is 12. For this one, for example, they might go 5, 5 and 5, I know that's 15. So they use skip counting to help them work it out. So, or they may know 10 and 5 and use their place value to work it out. So once we get into children who are age 7, so potentially year 2, they need to be able to use this with place value and the skip counting. So for example here, I can see 4, 10, 6 and 1, 1. So that would be 41. Here on my Reckon Rec, I can see that we've got 5 rows of 10 and then 6 on the bottom row, so that's going to make 56. If you haven't used the Reckon Rec, there'll be a video soon coming out explaining a Reckon Rec. For this one, we've got the 10 frames again, so I've got 3 full 10 frames, so that's 30, and then on the bottom I've got 6 shown pairwise, so 36. So we wouldn't expect the child to count each individual one, and if they are counting each individual one, you need to take it a step back because they're not ready for this stage. So for this one, what do you see? Different people will see this in different ways. Some people will see there's a group of 6 at the top and 3 at the bottom. Some will see 3, 3 and 3, which is how I see it. Either way, it's 9, but we're looking here now at this level for children to be able to start to think, okay, I see 3, 3 and 3, or I see a group of 6 and 3 more. So they're actually conceptualizing what they see and breaking down those numbers using derived facts. So further on from this, we would go into more complicated ones where they're using more complicated strategies. So here in the first picture, I can see 5 and 2. But how you see the 5? Do you see the 5 as a wonky dice at the top, or do you see the 4 at the bottom and 3 at the top? If I look at the one on the right hand side, I can see the pattern for 5 on the dice, but there's an extra one sort of squished in the bottom. So does that actually look like a wonky 6 and 2 underneath? Do I see 3 coming down twice and then 2 on the side? There are so many different ways that you could see that, and the conversations having with children about this is really important because this is what will help develop their number sense. Please take a look at my website and explore the other blog posts I've written, which may be helpful to you.